Hey, survivors, welcome back. We're going to have a really fun time again. I've been loving these chats. Lots of fun. We get a little crazy, a little slap happy the later we get. I'll be doing these daily if I can. So, we're going to talk about the narcissist and how the physical or the emotional abuse can actually turn into physical abuse, even without them ever touching us. So, I see somebody's joined us. Hey, let's see who it is in a second. But the emotional abuse we go through. It's either John or Nathan. That's my guess. Let's see. I don't know. It might be Samantha. But we're really damaging our bodies. And it's something that we need. It is Sam. I said that third. I said it's either John, Nathan, or maybe it's Sam. Sam, you're so sweet. Good to have you. But yeah, this is something that's going to be really good for you to listen to. Is the abuse we go through, the emotional turmoil, and it really starts playing havoc on our brains. So I'm still struggling. Physically, I feel like crap. It's the anxiety. I have like to overcome it daily, and I feel on edge and some brain fog. And there's also some pretty extreme things that can happen to us, like heart disease, stroke, diabetes, different inflammations. A lot of people, it's so interesting. As soon as they get rid of their person, they start healing. And Samantha said, you need this topic also. Well, thank you. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, with depression, we're sleeping a lot more. We might have weight gain, or if we're not sleeping the right way, nightmares or just insomnia. That's going to lead to different things too within our bodies, and we're subjecting ourselves to physical abuse. And you know, I don't know if you guys have either gone through COVID or I've gone through some pretty severe injuries that, our health is what really matters the most, because it's really hard to live a life when you can't wake up, or you're at risk of losing a limb, or you're sleeping all the time. I know in 10th grade I had mono, and then I've also recently gotten over COVID, but I sleep a lot. And then on top of the depression that we go through and trying to overcome that, it's like a triple whammy that I'm struggling with right now. But, you know, um, there's people who, with cancers, things like that. It's amazing how our heart and our brain and our bodies are all interrelated, that we need to keep our bodies in prime condition. We only have one shot at life, as far as I know. And, seeing the struggles that both my parents went through, we don't want to exacerbate that. We, I have a lot of joint pains and things like that I'm really trying to counteract. My stomach's not as upset as it used to be. A lot of us could have stomach problems. We could possibly develop eating disorders or alcohol or drug dependency. And it is all encompassing. That's a perfect way to put it, Samantha, is even if it's baby steps, it's going to lead to a better life. Um, you know, uh, like my dad, he had, I was going to say rheumatoid arthritis. He had rheumatic fever when he was 12, and he had to learn to walk again. And he could have accepted my muscle atrophy is too much. It's not worth the effort from 12 years on up. But he learned to walk again. And it's like we need to learn to live again. And we can't just accept this, that this is how it is. We had the power, just like my dad had the power, to do as much as we can, or as much as he could, to live life to the fullest. And it's pretty serious that I don't want us subjecting ourselves to that anymore, that we have to take control over it. It is physical abuse. So some of us go through actual touch physical abuse, but it's killing It's literally killing our brains. I've shown some brain scans of the depressed brain, somebody with anxiety, and John's here. You were making dinner. I made dinner and I made a big mistake today. Yeah, I made like a double dose of meatloaf because I had like 4 pounds of meatloaf. And I invited my neighbors over just because I have too much for just myself. And I was like, talking, and I don't know why I poured all the grease down the drain without running hot water, and so now I have a double sink that's clogged. so, so I'm yeah. So that was a good dinner, but now I have a double clogged sink. I was trying to fix before I logged on, trying to get some hot water down there, but that's all right. Might have to call maintenance. What'd you make for dinner, John? And Lily said, "Oh, Lily is here too." Yeah, don't let people know that that's why I'm single. I put grease down the drain. Lily says hi to Sam, John, and even myself, Cynthia. Was hearing you, but couldn't get the type line. Oh, well, I'm glad you were able to hear. Beefaroni. I love beefaroni. And can I tell you a story? When I my first one called off the wedding, wanted to postpone it, and I ended up moving out. My parents, it was so cute. They bought me a computer, bought me flannel sheets because I'm always cold. And when I was a kid, I loved Chef Boyardee, so they bought me Chef Boyardee. It's kind of like, I think, a celebration. I know, but I usually run it with hot water. And like I said, it was extra grease today because I made a double dose. And it probably wasn't, I didn't have my glasses. I just picked up a chunk of meat at like 4 pounds. And I think it was hamburger, not ground, um, ground chuck or whatever. I'm too tired to think what it's called. The lesser. So yeah, it was extra grease. Yeah, and I've never had a problem, but this is the first time, and I'm like, oh, plus it was so much grease. I was like, oh, chicken noodle soup. Yeah, I like chicken noodle soup. Beefaroni, isn't beefaroni the best? Sirloin, ground sirloin. Thank you. Yes, I'm too tired. Um, and I was also, I don't know if you know Jordan Peterson and his daughter Michaela. They do the Lions diet. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, and I'm kind of wondering. She had to do it. He did too. They had to do it because they had severe allergies. She had a lot of skin things going on. She was crying. She was depressed, and some of the foods that we eat too. I'm not sure how healthy of a diet it is, but it's gotten rid of inflammations. So sometimes toxins removing, at least for them, they remove the toxins, and they're living the best life now. It changed, so we have to be careful. Different food dyes can make a difference. I know some people who are allergic to that red dye. um, and like gluten, things like that can upset your stomach. But even our narcissists, if we're living on edge all the time. Lily says, yum, and I put my famous dark brown sugar in the meat sauce, like 2 tablespoons. And adds a kind of sweet, indescribable, great taste. In your beefaroni, you do that? Huh. I would probably thicken it up a little bit. I had shredded wheat cereal. Shredded wheat reminds me of my grandma. I actually like shredded wheat, and it just brings me. Do you have the big ones? She used to always have the big ones, and then like for a snack, I'll eat the mini sugar coated ones. You have in the meat sauce. I bet that's good. I don't know. There is I know some sauces, spaghetti sauces will have corn syrup, but I know that I've done where you make your own sloppy joes. You can use ketchup and brown sugar, and I like it for um, sloppy joes, but not everybody does. Have you ever poured molasses on shredded wheat? It's great. I haven't had molasses in the house since I was probably 12, but hold your tongue and say molasses on the table. Hold your tongue, do it now. Molasses on the table, my app. Do it. It's fun. We used to do that in school. Molasses on the table. And that's the thing. Silly little things bring us back to our childhood. So did you notice how that I just picked up on that? But our narcissists, little things, just silly little things can bring them back to a traumatic event from their childhood. So, let's say they were beat with a molasses bottle and we're like, oh, do this. And then all of a sudden they're angry at us and we can't figure it out. There's times we have no clue. And sometimes too, they don't know what's causing those triggers. And that's why it's like so unpredictable. Um, I bet, huh? I kind of know what the pure taste of molasses tastes like. Who did it? Did you guys do your molasses holding your tongue assignment? Talking about assignments, I go back to school. You love grandma molasses. Grandmas are just the best, aren't they? I miss mine. I was pretty lucky. Well, my first one, she was 87 and or 82. 82, 86, somewhere in there. And then the other one lived till 97. My grandpa lived to 98 and a half. So the other was 66 for the other grandpa. But there's some longevity in my lineage. So it's definitely important to take care of ourselves. I saw the struggles that my dad went through. And, not everything is from narcissistic abuse. It's the stressors. Like I said, he had rheumatic fever. He also had other types of stressors. My mom struggles with some stuff, and my dad, it's interesting. My dad was really at peace when he passed away, really at peace. He was very religious, and my mom's not. And I think she's scared to pass away. So sometimes, I said, I'm not going to tell you guys what to believe. But it was kind of disheartening to my mom when I asked her, do you know what you believe? She doesn't even think about it. So I just think it's important to know what we believe. Samantha says you miss black strap molasses in your coffee. My grandpa and I used to drink it. It's great. I bet that would be good. You like honey on cereal sometimes. My goodness, you guys are like cooks. I mean, I cooked, but you see what I did to my sink. Yep. But one thing I liked is we're Dutch, and there's you take bread and you put butter on it, and you put chocolate sprinkles, like the little jimmies or whatever. But you use the Dutch hachel, and that's so good. Oh my gosh, that's really good. And with tradition's really important. It gives us some stability in life. I think sometimes after our narcissistic abuse, we're lacking stability. So traditions are something that can kind of keep us on track, things to look forward to. And I saw another post too, where one guy was like, you've succeeded long enough. Like your successes in the past, time to do some more. So it's good to keep going in life. That once we feel we made it, we could still do more. There's a whole life out there. I know John's getting extra creative, working and changing things up on his inventions. But guys, feel free to tell me how your day was. Does it each day seem to be getting better? Samantha, you're still in your situation. Is it the same old, or was today a good day? Because I saw, I just did a video, I haven't uploaded it yet, where there's so many comorbidities. I gave some statistics on the different percentages where they suffer other things too. Only 17% have mood disorders. And I kind of wonder, Samantha, with your man, if it's anger issues or mood disorders. Kind of wondering on him. But John says, you recently got a Keurig coffee machine. There are so many different kinds of coffee. It's not funny. I know. And my parents' house is ridiculous. And they also have different like teas and hot chocolate. What my sister has is kind of like a Keurig for mixed drinks. And there's like, I think you can have like 4 bottles of, I don't even know, rum, vodka, whatever the heck. And you just mix it. It has these little cups and it'll mix. And I'm not a big drinker, so I haven't tried it, but it's supposed to make them perfectly. I'm a coffee drinker though. And I should get a Keurig because I don't measure. My coffee is so inconsistent. Aunt Lily says I had a great day because no narcs in my life on a daily. Good. I like hearing that. And I pretty much had a good day today too. My body though is still recovering. It's like my body's like he had me leave like for 4 months or something where I didn't know if he was alive or dead. So that's like the highest. Um, it's not knowing if we're not going to get back together again. But he made it like I thought he was dead or could still be alive. And then you start wondering, like, why can't you just tell me that you're okay, but you hate my goods, or you just don't want to talk to me? And we never had a fight. We didn't get into a fight. Then it makes sense. Um, and that's the thing; they can discard you in a heartbeat. I got discarded. I was supposed to be getting back together with my first one. I get a speeding ticket. Our whole family's destroyed because I got a speeding ticket. And then they don't even talk to you. You can't even talk through it. Or, come on, honey, this is silly. Or, I'll pay it. Don't worry. It's only a couple, what's the worst case scenario? They just discard you. Samantha says, husband can't control his emotions at all. Yeah, I kind of wonder. He might have a 17%. So it's a good chunk that had that mood disorder, too. Your grandpa, Samantha says, was from the Bahamas. Ooh. I'm not sure. Bahamian? Bahamian is how I would say it, but Bahamian meals, lots of rice, delicious. Yeah, I went to China and I lived off of rice because there's depending on what section of China you go to, some of the food's amazing. I love Guangzhou. Hangzhou was food, but Xiamen, which is like Hawaii in my eyes, beautiful place. But yeah, their food, they have lots of every body part, eyes and heads and beaks and yeah, I don't know. It was a little much for me. So I just ate rice. And I'm not a seafood eater. Like I think if I liked seafood, I would have been happy with their food. But Lily says, then you should learn from him. Don't worry. Be happy. Very true. Um, John says, great machines they are, Cynthia. Get yourself one. I should. And that's the thing, like I should pamper myself. Why not? Because I make like a whole pot of coffee just for myself. And I'm just this is the thing with Keurigs though, is I'm a sipper. So with a coffee pot, you can reheat it. I don't, I drink all day long, but when I drink my coffee, it takes me like 2 to 4 hours to drink it. But you're right, I should. Samantha says I miss my grandpa's Hungarian. Oh, you make me Bahamian. It makes sense if it's Bahamian from the Bahamas. Bahamian. Is that the Hungarian Bahamian? Yes, it was a very unique sound. I bet it was kind of cool. Yes, you said it right. Bahamian. Okay, that's how I would say it. Bahamian. Because I'm like, Bahamian? Bahamian. Thank you. Yay! I use my deductive reasoning. John says you're Irish and Hungarian. Huh. I wonder how you tan. You have Irish and Hungarian also, John says Samantha. Lily says, love the Keurig. I do a big cup of Maxwell House and hazelnut coffee mate. What's really nice, I'm spoiled at my school. We have a Keurig, we have a soda pop dispenser, so I'm pretty well taken care of at school. I see food, I eat it. Let's love it. And you're Hungarian Russian. I'm not Hungarian. Everybody's Hungarian except me. I have a little Lithuanian and a Russian cousin. Does that count? My cousin is a famous Russian singer, an opera singer, Neola. I don't know her last name. It's probably too hard. Wish I spoke the languages though. Yeah, I love languages to communicate with people. And John's having hazelnut coffee right now. Yay, John, says Lily. Samantha says, I speak Little German, have Little German from grandma's side. Das gut, das gut. Beer? That's all I know. That's good in beer. Eins, zwei, drei. That's a couple other syllables. Yes, I start back tomorrow. And I'm still like recovering from the COVID where I'm just sleeping like crazy. So I've been sleeping like 14 hours a day. So it's going to be hard tomorrow, but I'm ready for it. I'm a trooper. And Yeah, I go back. So I'm gonna start doing my lives. What do you guys think? 5, 6 o'clock. You tell me. 5, 6, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Because I'd like to have us where we can still meet with each other, but should be in bed a little earlier than I was this weekend. Samantha says, I look like a Barbie. Oh, you're gorgeous no matter where you're from. Well, thank you. You're so sweet. Do I really look like a Barbie? Just kidding. You speak Vulcan. Okay. Is that pretty good? Pretty good? Nano, nano. That's pretty good. Can you guys do that? Try and do it. I got to be cool with the kids, so I got to practice. There. It's not quite good. Vulcan. So I got a Trekkie. I got a Trekkie in here. And I got to see Dr. Spock's house. Where was it though? It was like either Massachusetts or I think it was Boston, and it was black. From what I remember, it was a 3-story house, solid black, and I got it. Yeah, there you go, there you go. But it's kind of neat. My uncle showed it, so it had to be somewhere. I think it was Boston. I ended up seeing him. I had a date with a guy that I met in Michigan, and he lived in Boston. So I got to see Uncle Bob, Skipper Gilligan. All the little things from our childhood. See, little things we start getting silly. And it's interesting. You bring up the Barbie. So I just, a lot of kids take their Barbies' heads off, or girls, why did our Barbies always end up naked? There's a lot of patterns that people do, and it's like across the board. So when I was studying the different things about narcissists, it's across the board. Doesn't matter where they're from, and it's really interesting. Uh, in Japan, they, and my wording might be a little bit off, but the nail that sticks up is the one that gets pounded in, and they're trying to say the person that is seen the most gets pounded down. And Lily says, do you guys remember Skipper she's Barbie's daughter or Barbie's niece or something? She's her cousin, I believe. Skipper's her cousin. And do you remember that Barbie where you could, I don't know if you guys are younger than me, but you could take the top part of her hair, and if you just like open the hair and redid it, it was like a brown black, and then you flip it around and just she had blonde hair. It's kind of cool. Okay, so yeah, I love those. I think Skipper was her little sister. Was it her little sister? I think it's her little sister. Oh gosh. I have a torn back because of Barbie. When I was growing up, my friend wanted to play with it, and she threw my arm back. We were laying on the bed, and she threw my arm back and tore my whole back up. I just unbreakable. I had to wear like a brace. And then I was a little show off. I had to wear this brace, wore this brace for months because it messed my back up. And we went to one of her friends' birthday parties, and I didn't know anybody. So I kind of fit in, but I still didn't know them. They were all like best friends, big group of girls, and they're being polite to me and stuff, but they were doing like trances or something like this. And so I wanted to show off. They're like, you're not in a trance, and I'm pretending I am. They're like, if you're in a trance, then pick her up and walk her across the room. That girl is, I think, 220 pounds. So I showed off pretending I was in a trance. And like I said, narcissists do things like that in the adult life where they don't think things through. They have that childlike mentality. So they're risk takers. They do a lot of things that aren't necessarily smart. I wouldn't do that now. I'd be like, are you kidding me? Skipper had long blonde hair. Yep. And they have one that's named after my daughter. They have all different names. Ken and what was Todd, Ken and Todd. John says Lost. Oh, Lost in Space. I loved Lost in Space. Star Trek, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea were favorite shows as a kid. Yeah, and it brings back a lot of good memories. And you see the changes over time. So we're going to relate that to, I love you guys helping me stimulate my brain, but changes over time, even just in television, cinematography, that we see things evolve. And we're in this evolutionary stage of personalities, how people get along. And, with cinematography, it's pretty amazing. But with where this country's going, it's starting to scare me because it seems like it's on an increase upscale that the entitlement, the separation, you know, um, everybody's super sensitive about things. Uh, Nobody understanding anybody else. And it's almost like you can't speak, you can't say anything. Um, just like, don't attack me on this, but like Black Lives Matter. They're just saying Black Lives Matter, general statement. And people like, what about us? And then sometimes too, when you separate it too, are they focusing on color when and it's just a big mess on the sensitivities, people not seeing eye to eye. I see comments across YouTube, Facebook. Everybody just wants to argue. Nobody wants to understand the other people. And Midge, Alan, oh, Midge. I had older sisters and loved Barbies. Barbies were awesome. Just combing their hair. That's all I wanted to do. Just comb their hair. And also, get them dressed. Those are so hard to do. I've made Barbie clothes. Barbie clothes are hard to make when you like try to sew them because they're so little. But, you know, our childhood that we're talking about, we have little snapshots. I'm sure when you guys were thinking about something, like you remembered a certain room and holding a doll in a certain hand or whatever, where you were, who was there. Sometimes you can feel the temperature or almost like smell the air. There's a lot of things that go into our memories. And with the narcissist, they have a lot of negative memories. And that's where they go to in times of stress. We usually go back to our comfort when, um, so they might not have had a mom or dad to hug them. So they didn't, they might not be into physical touch. I had somebody, I'm not sure if it was live chat. I think it was live chat where, you know, um, she doesn't like physical touch. And you could tell from the upbringing, but as far as the physical damage it can do to us, it can be debilitating. And, even just if the only thing you have is sleepless nights, that's going to start, you don't get enough sleep, you can go into hallucinations. The human body, the longest somebody has gone without dying from not sleeping is 11 days. So you can actually live longer without food. And what I've seen with my grandma when she was passing away, it was like 34 days where she didn't have food or water. It was fascinating. She was a tiny thing. Uh, she was like 5'1" and like 115 pounds, maybe. She was an older lady, how you spread out a little bit, but she was tiny and lived like 30 some days. Our bodies sometimes go into protective things such as shutting down, so you don't go into starvation or, the starvation mode where you're not processing as many calories. And you hear about stories where people are trapped under freezing cold water and their body shuts down. We have a fascinating mind and body that we want to preserve. So, Samantha, do the kids ever say anything though about the things that they're seeing? Or I think you said one was kind of starting to act out towards you. Have they realized not to talk like dad does to you? Because, we can't overlook those things. And it's going to take constant reminders, just like the kids at school. How I was saying about the the society changing. That one 6-year-old who just shot a teacher. Like, I could go back to school on Monday. Uh, I deal with the elementary kids, and sometimes even just living in fear. When you think about all these kids that have been around that kind of stuff, or live in, traumatic life events. There's so much of it. And I started studying the divorce rates, as far as like successes and divorces. There is something to it where the second and third marriages, nobody's learning from the mistakes that they made, because each subsequent marriage is a lot quicker. And what is causing all this stuff? Why are so many people not getting it? It's just a lot of baggage. People aren't healing, and people aren't taking the time to understand. They're as adults, they're not really looking at it's like everybody's up for themselves, and everybody's now on the defensive. We're walking on eggshells for different groups. We don't, everything has to be politically correct. People get really violent, and like our traditional setup is not how it used to be. It was very interesting too, how there's a lot more male narcissists, and like I said, how the medical field, and then also according to that one study, the military, usually male dominated, but it's usually power positions that are more narcissistic. They, a lot of times men feel uh, that in order to have the right kind of relationship, they have somebody submissive to them. And with the women's liberation, everything's all off kilter. That you know you think about the ones that are going to lose the power and have to compromise, usually aren't going to like it. You had, John says, you had the new version of the Lost in Space DVDs. Not bad. The robot is more android looking. Ooh, pretty cool. Pretty cool. And, oh, ça va. I'm doing good. Salut. Salut. Bonjour. Je m'appelle Cindy. Ça va. And I don't know how to say your name. Do I just do big eyes? Are those eyes? um, uh, Leah says a lot of angry people around with misdirected anger. Yeah. Yep. They don't know. There's a click. It's all right. It's my fault if there's a clicking noise. Um, Welcome. Bienvenue. So I have a francophone in the house. I see some French. I took a little bit of French. I was better at Spanish. But I love languages. French was harder. I took 2 semesters or 3. I took I took it in high school and 2 in college. 2 in college, 3 for Spanish. So good to have you here though. And John says, "You're so right, Lily." I actually dated a French exchange student and I adored him. I still don't say his name right. Bertrand. And when I met him, I'm like, "What's your name?" He's like, "Bertrand." I'm like, "What's your name?" "Bertrand." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Just call me Bart." But yeah, he lived in Jean Jaurès Gap, however you say it, but that's where he lived. I still remember uh, Bis Avenue, BIS. Uh, Yeah, I still remember his address from when I was 16 back in 1986. So, yeah, I wanted to go there. That's the other thing too. I think I told you guys my story about going to France is I was in the French club. Of course I like that guy, and I wanted to go to France and my parents won't let me go. I saved up the money. It was this time I went to a public school and then I went over to a private school, and it was a Christian, supervised, chaperoned, and I was gonna pay for it. They wouldn't let me go, but they pay for my sister to go to an unsupervised, uh, trip to England with like the choir. And they paid for it too. I was like, that's so unfair. So little injuries, I didn't hold it against my parents, but it's kind of like I was the one that was really into it. Um, Lily says a lot of angry people. You're right. And I'm trying not to click. It's this like hitting. So sorry. I'll try not to move around so much. And Lily says ex narc like that had to get away. So true. A lot healthier. Samantha says, my 8-year-old boy is very kind to men and stands up for me. He understands. And my 6-year-old daughter understands too, but gets mad and calls me names and repeats daddy's words. It's painful. It is painful. And one thing that's interesting, they did a study on girls versus boys, even in adulthood, that women were usually weaker. We just are. And we use our words more. So it's interesting that your daughter is the one who's more vocal. It's kind of makes sense. Oh, bonjour Pierre. Je m'appelle Pierre. Je suis honoré pour vous et pour tout le monde. You're thankful for me, my honor, my presence, and for everybody. Like everybody is either tout le monde is all of the world, is monde world, but I think it also means everybody. Monde means world, but tout le monde I think is everyone. So yes, welcome, welcome. Bienvenue. Learned behavior say I'm not good. John says yes. Kind to me, I meant kind to me, I meant. Oh, okay. The kids pick it up, unfortunately. Yes. Lily says, I think a good I love speaking French. Uh, my accent's not good. Lily says, I think a good thing to tell them is that daddy is sick. Mm, oh. Mm, that's what I told my daughter, but I got away for her sanity and mine. Does she still see her dad? I can't remember. Um, I don't know if I would necessarily say that. You could get in trouble with the courts for disparaging the parent. They're not divorced yet. And you might get in trouble for that. There's no diagnosis, as far as I know. So it would be seen as disparaging. Um, and I would do it a different way. I would, wee wee, haha, I speak. No, no, no French. Honored for all of you. I got it pretty close. I got it pretty close. So yes, Pierre has joined us. Pierre, so good to have you. I love French fries and French people. Welcome, Pierre. Hi, Pierre. Are you over in France? That would be amazing. You guys are what, 6 hours different? Is it 7, 5, 1 a.m. where you are? Is that correct? You don't have to tell me if you want to keep uh, private information private. But you missed it when I talked about my French final, how I have a photographic memory. I had this French final and calendrier and calendar. I had to like close my eyes and I'd try and figure out how to say calendar. But I was Chantal. Merci. I was Chantal. That was my French name. Samantha says, I think that it's not a good choice of words daddy's using. Yeah, something like that would be good. And they understand that he could choose to talk better and control himself, like how we control our words, and they get it well. Hello, hello, bonjour. And I think that especially right now, yeah, because then they can reflect on the way they talk. And it's not giving an excuse. Like, daddy's going to talk to you like this because he's sick. Okay, daddy's sick, so that's why he's going to keep doing it. Um, bon, how would I say that? Boneless banana? Banana bone? Lily says, yes, sees him. Okay, came back in her life a year ago. He's okay to her now. So that's good. And bonus. Trying to get me to say molasses on our table. And everybody's saying hi to Pierre and bonus. I'm going to say that in bonus. How do you say it with the accent? I dated a girl. She called her man banana, banana. Yeah, that was his nickname, banana. Bonus banana. And I love all the names. We get to sometimes hide behind a facade. I don't think that's your birth name. But yeah, I was saying in the beginning though that seriously talking is that the abuse that we go through really does affect our health. Lily says, I hear you, Cynthia, on that daddy is sick. It is controversial, but they could take it as just sick and not mentally sick. But I think it's good if she addresses it with the kids instead. Yeah, I know sometimes it gets confusing. It's like with my kids, like, yeah, I'm going to say that. And then you're like, I don't, but with the courts, I just be careful instead of making them form their own opinion. Yeah. And I think that's the healthiest way. Um, but yeah, I agree with you, Lily. So, you know, that's the thing too is when we're in these relationships, it's almost like the narcissist. You have, oh, you have obsessive compulsive disorder. I heard that that's like the highest, um, uh, like mental illness disorder. You were looking on anything for YouTube and you found me. Uh, so yeah, obsessive compulsive. What are the things that you do? My ex's sister has that. She has to like tap and touch things. And it can be pretty debilitating sometimes too. Sometimes people also might have some anxiety from it based on how others perceive them, and it can get quite stressful sometimes. You know, I was also studying about Tourette's and different things like that. And John says, You're in the right place, Pierre, because yeah, it's a good group we have. We have a really good group here. Some of them are used to tuning in a little bit later, but we have been really supportive, really getting to know each other. And are there some things that you're struggling with your obsessive compulsive disorder, or are you searching like uh, 214? Okay, I was close. Calibri is here. So Calibri, we have some new people here. We got Bonus, Banana, and Pierre, our ami from France, our French ami, and our French friend. Samantha says, if you don't mind, Lily, how old are you? Lily says hi to Calibri and John. Lily's 47. That's right. Did you just have a birthday? Can't remember. Maybe not. Somebody's whose birthday's coming up. Um, but as far as Kaliwi says, welcome to the new guys. Hi, Lily. So yeah, with the obsessive compulsive disorder, I know for me, when I was in high school, I used to check my alarm clock all the time because I was paranoid of not waking up. And it was kind of frustrating. You lay down and you're like, I gotta get, and I would do that like 6, 8 times. Um, but I grew out of it, but there's things where you just have to do certain rituals, or it becomes so anxiety ridden that it's almost like you have to do it or you can't continue. Oh, you retracted it, Pierre. I'm sorry if I took too long. I don't know where you're. That's okay if you retract it though, but yeah. Um, have you seen anyone with your obsessive compulsive stuff? Is there anybody helping you through it? Because it's something that we have to try to overcome the most we can. There might be, if you have comorbidities with anxiety or depression, that you can overcome it. Maybe even have like a little pocket squeeze instead of having to touch certain things. But it's us trying to soothe the brain. It's amazing how uncomfortable we can get when our brain is not quite right. And there's traumatic brain injuries. There's emotional abuse that we've been through, physical abuse, and Kalibi says I had that too. Whenever I lock my car in the parking lot, I have to be sure that all locks are on and the alarm is on. I just take that as my routine. And do you ever freak out though, Calibri, where you got to check several times? Lily says you're in March. Okay, so it was, yeah, because I think Nin is 46 and you're already 47. So, um, but uh, I know it was interesting to watch my ex's sister because when my daughter had my grandkids, she didn't have it earlier in life that I had ever noticed. And I wonder, how long have you had it, Pierre? Or when did they notice it too? Kalibi says I had it too at times. I may go back to the parking lot area to check just for my satisfaction. Yeah, it's almost like you either turn around from shopping, you might leave the store, and um, it's a calming thing. It's a survival technique, and we get anxious. Samantha says your birthday's next week. Oh, we're gonna have such a big party! Yay! Um, but yeah, Lily's like, go ahead, ask me anything, and yeah, Samantha is. It's a Tuesday or Thursday if I remember. I can't remember. Uh, Still got that COVID brain fog. Kalibi says, okay, sorry guys. But that's the thing, like so many people struggle with mental health at one time. It's like 20% across the board. And um, some can be overcome and some can be debilitating, for life. So Thursday, yes, yes, yes. Cool. Um, let's see. Lundi, jeudi, mercredi, lundi. Lundi? Is that right? Is that Thursday? Lundi. I'm trying, guys. I haven't had French since 1992. So it's been a while. But certain things stick. I had all that Chinese. I know like 4 words in Chinese now. Washa Maguaran. I'm American. I know Japanese. Tashi no namae wa sendi desu. Uh, Closely, sorta. Have a chat. I will. I'll have a chat on Thursday. Thursday, I teach English as a second language to the Japanese families. So I will be back. Uh, it'll probably 5:30 or 6. They love to hang. Class is over at 4:30. I don't get out of there till 5:15 because we we don't know when to leave. Um, oh, well, I got to be merci, merci. To a belle ton style. You like my style? A beautiful, beautiful style? Dons. Um, and there's some roses. Oh, I don't know how to say roses in French though. You're 25. Let's say, oh gosh. See, I always get French and Spanish mixed up. That's why I can't think. Uh, 25? I'm trying to remember. You're 25. Spill it. Spill it. Samantha says, "Oh, awesome. 25." Yeah, and the romance. Definitely the romance. Can learn a lot from French people. And that's the thing, we have a whole world out there. So when we get down in the dumps, go explore something, whether it's virtual or, even just walking around outside. I know some of us talked about that yesterday, that we'd be walking a little bit. It does help with our mental health. There are different things that can calm us, and it's so important that we keep ourselves safe. You see, I'm worried about the people in Ukraine, all the innocent bystanders, uh, high anxiety, even us with COVID, how we've gone through COVID, the difference. that's going to happen with society. Today was the first day that a plane has landed in China from Canada in 3 years. So we're starting to get a little bit back on track. But there's been so much trauma. And I told you guys about that 6-year-old that shot a teacher. It's like, when are we safe? You know? Um, but in our own homes, we really need to be as safe as possible. Don't clog your sink with meatloaf grease because you can drown. Kalibi says, I'd rather be obsessive compulsive than be an NPD. At least I can correct myself. Yeah, that's the thing too. People would probably be more, if I do that as opposed to like yelling at you. Um, but it can be debilitating. Like there are some people that almost can't function. And, people with MPD, it destroys their lives sometimes. But yeah, I'd rather be obsessive compulsive too, most definitely. And you suffer from the order of thin. Anx- uh, Sometimes I arrive for the 100th time. Do you mean thin as in skinny? No gras? Uh, Greece? Greece. I told you I get French and Spanish. I'll go back and forth between the two. I took them at the same time. Um, so you have it where you keep coming back. The order of thin. Do you mean thin? I'll wait for you to let me know if that's the word you mean. Um, because they have something too, like that. If you guys have seen the 51st dates with Drew Barrymore and A- Adam Sandler, how she just had a short term memory thing. Is that what you have, where it's a short term memory, where it's almost like you're reliving things? Um, or are you saying that you come back, like to where? Yeah, I did hear the teacher's gonna make it. She's in stable condition from what I believe, if I remember correctly. Um, Let me see what you mean by order of thin. See, because yeah, uh, I don't know if you're also referring to an eating disorder too, like being too thin. Um, and I also don't know if your native language is French or English. Um, Order, because I want to help you. And I think it's just a typo or something. Thin Man, they got a movie, the Thin Man classic movie. I think we're talking about something different. Um, but yeah, there are some where you might not even realize that you've already done this. You can't commit things to memory, but explain a little bit more so I know what you're talking about, Pierre. Because there are comorbidities, there are eating disorders. Um, you know, it's something that we have to do to either fit in or to feel safe. And when you come from a healthier background, you're full, you're happy, things feel safe, you have what you need. I keep telling you about that we actually need love to thrive. How I talked about that orphan who was just stuck, kind of warehoused. Nobody would come and comfort her, and all the damage that it did to her brain. There's almost like no activity going on. And how do you function? That's why they feel so lost. They feel empty. And, you know, um, it's like we can feel our heart hurt. We can feel our heads. And it's really interesting how when we go through those traumas, we can feel physically, and it releases chemicals in our body that are toxic. So when we give in, like, okay, I'm going to be depressed today. Okay, I'm like anxious and I'm just going to run with it and get really hyper about it instead of calming ourselves, we're allowing more and more toxins to enter our stream. And over time, it's going to build up, it's going to cause issues. And it's amazing all the different things that people go through. We also have to remember the different toxins from the foods and water. You guys know about the Flint water. I don't live there, but the asbestos and lead that can be in paints. There's all these things we got to look out for. But John says I like to walk backwards to see where I've been. You're adorable. Lily's laughing. Prove it. Make a video for us. John's got some videos up there. He's going to make a video of him walking backwards. So you guys like my big hair in that one video? I love the filters. I need to figure out, I want to do a video. What is it? Beyonce who sings if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. And that's like all over. I don't know how they get away with the different having music allowed. I think there's certain copyright issues where you can get around it. So I was thinking about, because not all of our narcissists married us. So I was thinking about doing a little dance video for you guys. JG, yo, yo. And for Pierre, that means bonjour. He says salut. Samantha says JG, sup. JG. That's what he says to you, Sam. Little wink. But have you guys noticed that any ailments have been released for you? Like I said, my stomach's doing a lot better. And, you know, um, just better food choices. I've made better food choices. Just not drawn to the comfort foods as much. And it's really interesting how when we get depressed, the different things that we choose to eat, it's almost like we give up on ourselves sometimes. You're like, screw it, I'll just eat that, or we overeat. Samantha says we should have a conference call soon, Zoom or something. Yes, I agree with that. We definitely should. So creative. We should. I'm not sure when. We'll definitely have to do that though. I had that set up. So yeah, maybe a birthday party one. Maybe after the live chat, we'll do a quick little happy birthday in person or something. Lily says, so creative. JJ, fruits, your body needs it. It really does. Lily says, yo. Yo to JG and everybody. Kalibi, you try to watch your intake of carbs and sugar. It's been good. Keyword is discipline. Yes, discipline. Because I've lost 78 pounds. And I used to have a lot of broken bones and, kind of overate, had to keep up with the brother. And it can be done. I'm living proof. 78 pounds. We get to that point. I was 2 pounds away from 200, got up to 198. And I'm like, that's too close. So Samantha says, yeah, we can do that, Samantha, for your birthday. Have to try that. JG says, Lily. That was JG that said it. Calibri, it was especially hard during the holidays watching the yummy desserts go by. I'll tell you what, though. Once you stop eating the sweets, it's a lot easier because I don't crave them anymore at all. And I used to. We're like, oh. I had talked in a video before too. I don't know if you guys saw this about us. I'm always on a diet because you have to be disciplined. But somebody had the last brownie on a plate. I was like, no, that's okay. I didn't want it and didn't eat it. Wasn't really hungry. They're like, okay. And as soon as I'm like, it was kind of like that FOMO, fear of missing out. So I grabbed it, I ate it, and it's like as soon as we're about to take away the relationship from the narcissist, that's when they're like, nope, and they latch on. Sometimes, like, I regretted eating it, not big hardcore regret, but it's like, I didn't eat that. And sometimes too, that's kinda like what the narcissist is like. It's like they latch on to us right when we're about to leave. Sometimes they enjoy it, savor it, but other times it's like, "Why did I do that?" It was like an impulse, or, the fear of missing out. And Kalibi says it was, oh, I'm sorry. Lily is like, "Oh, meow." Lily, darn Cynthia, you look naturally thin. Oh gosh. I was lucky though. I never had any rolls. When I was full term pregnant, I gained 55 pounds, but it was all in my butt and my thighs, that the doctors didn't even know I was in labor. Because the biggest my waist got was 32 inches. When she dropped, it was 34. My ex's waist was 36. So, um, yeah, nobody knew I was pregnant. The neighbors were like, one neighbor said, I think she's pregnant. And the other's like, no, she's just gaining a little bit of weight. And then they're like, then you came home with a baby. So yeah, I got real lucky. I got real, no stretch marks, but I got a big old booty when I was pregnant. Uh, but thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. Kalibi says, I used to buy boxes of Belgian chocolates at Costco during the holidays. Not anymore. I don't miss them. I used to, the Russell Stovers, we moved to my ex's dad's house. We had our daughter. He had emergency transferred to kind of help take care of his dad, who I did it. He hired some help too. It wasn't all me. But he always had uh, Russell Stover's chocolate, and I was on that chocolate kick. Uh, so I had to keep like going to the store and buying more chocolate because I didn't want to eat all this chocolate. And I wouldn't eat it if he didn't have it in the house, but he was like a good host. So he always wanted to have chocolate for people. I'm like, no. So sometimes, yeah, sometimes cravings are difficult to control, but we can learn to do that. And sometimes too, just by not indulging in it makes the impulse go away. So sometimes, my neighbor, he's struggling with alcoholism, has an inflamed pancreas, and he's just so into the alcohol. He also can't quit it cold turkey, or you can actually die. So he's got to slow it down. But since he's doing it slowly, also food addictions are really hard because every day you have food. And Bolt House Farms juice addiction in progress. Ooh, what kind of juice is your favorite? What is your favorite juice? They had it wasn't very fine. What was a brand name? They had to recall certain apple juice because it was toxic to people, but that was years ago. I don't know if you heard about that. What, I would recognize it if somebody said it, but it's not. No, it's not. Well, I told you my mom's like 380 pounds. I have one sister that has a body similar to mine, and then the other one's heavier. Suffering in repetition, and that the hardest thing is that you're not sure if you did it or not. Yes, just like, I can relate on a small scale because of the alarm clock. Um, yeah, suffering and repetition because you can't commit it to memory. I've been there, not on a full blown scale, but I think some of us have, like, did I turn the coffee pot on, off? Did I unplug my curling iron? And it kind of eats at you. But it's got, like, I want you guys to picture that where you're like, do I have to turn around? Did I unplug this? My iron? Is it safe? Is the house going to burn down? But yeah, if that consumes your life, and that's got to be frustrating. And then once you get frustrated, you're it's making it worse. It's going to make it harder. So with it becoming harder, you're going to get more frustrated, and you're going to need to keep doing. It's like a vicious cycle, um, Pierre, that you're in. Um, is there certain things that irritate you, things out of place, or something move? Do you need order? Are you a very organized person? Samantha says, stretch marks, I got them. It's okay. I broke my tailbone though when I had her. I had to get cut twice and broke my tailbone. Lily says, prove it, send pictures. They say, okay, JG, you crack me up. All right, we'll make JG happy. Hold on. All right, there you go. Check it out. Look at my butt. I'm sorry. Um, is my mom tall? My mom's she was 5'10", she's 5'8" now. My dad is 6'1". Now don't post that picture all over Instagram. But I had like my brother's 6'6". I have a cousin that passed away. He was 6'11". Um, his dad's like 6'7". A lot of height. A lot of height in my family. We're Dutch, and I think I told you guys that the tallest people in the world, and I'm taller than the tallest average man who's 6 foot tall if they're Dutch for the average Dutch man. So I'm taller than that. Just, ugh. But depends on what you call tall. You know, she's 5'8" now. She was 5'10". 5'10" is kind of tall. I have one sister that's 5'11". The other's like 5'7". So my daughter's about 5'7.5", 5'8". I don't know, somewhere in there. Um, but yeah, you would think that my dad would have been. My dad's parents were kind of short though, but they produced uh, or I'm sorry, it was my grandpa's sister. My grandpa's sister was 5'9", 5'10", so she was pretty tall, especially back in the day. She would have been like 100 right now, somewhere around there. She was a oldest recipient of a pacemaker, so that's kind of cool in the United States. I don't know if it's worldwide. And then my ex's dad was the longest living diabetic uh, kidney transplant, at least for a while. I don't know if they did it. We all shrank. I don't know. I'm 52. And when I was 21, I grew 3 inches. So I was 5'10" in high school. When I was 21, I grew 3 inches. That's unheard of. I stopped growing at 12 and then I grew. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Elastic band. Oh, me? Kind of an elastic band. It was kinda cool. 3 days after I had my daughter, a guy came up to me and asked me, he's like, "Can I ask you a question?" And I'm like, Yeah." He's like, "How do you get your stomach so flat?" I'm like, "Thanks, I just had a baby." But, yeah, it was all butt and thighs. All bu I gained 55 pounds, so that's more than you should, but I was underweight when I started. But, my sister, after I had my daughter, she was like, we went to the beach and she's like, please let me hold her. Please let me hold her. Please let me hold your daughter. And I'm thinking, You're kind of wanting this a little too much." I'm like, what? And she's like, just let me hold the baby because, we're in our bathing suits at the beach. And she's like, I just want to walk around with the baby. So if people look at me, they're not going to be like, ooh, she needs to lose some weight. She'll be like, oh, she looks pretty good for just having a baby. And, just in that instance, she was uncomfortable. I was thinner and self-conscious. So she was trying to have something to make her feel more comfortable. Our narcissists do that. They're uncomfortable with certain things, so they do certain things. I'm not saying my sister's a narcissist by any means. Probably the sweetest, most she even above me, she is top wife material, top mother material. But there are insecurities that we all have. And Lily says, I'm getting ready to pour hot grease down down the drain. Haha, just cooking so I could have lunch for tomorrow, but I already ate. Oh, don't do that. I don't even know. I can't see my sink. It's right over there, but yeah, I'm a little worried what I'm gonna see. That's okay. I'm lucky that go grease lightning. I always wanted to be Olivia Newton-John. I wanted to be Sandra Dee. So I was Cindy instead of Sandra Dee. Aw, good night. Bon nuit. Bon nuit. Um, it was nice having you join us. Thank you very much. Bon nuit. Sleep well. Sweet dreams. Um, hope you join us again. Thanks for joining us, Pierre. Au revoir. Au revoir. um, yeah, drain. I was wondering, I'm like, train, is that some location? How different areas have different things. I'm like, oh, because you can call it a trap too, can't you? Put it down the trap. But yeah, strain, not train. JG, put tinfoil around the drain, push it down so it makes a cut. Keep the tinfoil in place with weight. Oh, I know I should do that. Yeah, I was a dummy. I know not to do it, but I still did it, and it was so much more than normal too that I think it's really clogged. Yeah, excellent. I usually even just put it in a bowl and let it solidify, and then yeah, I was dumb. I was dumb. 52. It's the first time I've done it, so yeah. Well, I just a bimbo moment. But so were you guys impressed with my French? Uh-oh, Lily, JG saying don't be the anticipation, the suspense. Then you have to wait till it cools. Yeah, that's true. You do have to wait till it cools. I am, says John. You are what? What did I miss, John? I'm glad you're still here. Oh, you are. You are impressed with my French. Thank you. I almost said gracias. Messy. Messy. I told you I took them at the same time. Yeah, sometimes we don't want to overwhelm our brain because um it makes life harder. I didn't realize like I took my French final and she's like, Cynthia, uh, I know what you're saying, but half of it was in Spanish and half of it was in French. And that is a great tip. Yeah, don't do what Cynthia does. Do as they do, not as I do. How's that for a motto? So yeah, JG missed the grease talk, and we don't have to discuss it again. But you live and you learn, and that's a fresh reminder. So some fresh reminders we can go through is live every day to the fullest. I said yesterday too about living in the present. Be present in whatever you are doing. You're going to get the most out of it. So when you're going for a walk, enjoy that. Don't necessarily let your mind wander. Sometimes it's good to think about things, but let that time be time to take in the smells of the flowers, the sounds of the birds, and that's where your peace is going to come more from, as opposed to racking your brain and thinking things. Enjoying the present moment, because we have to train our brains to get rid of or not dwell in the past. Okay, be right back. Daughter getting home. Oh, awesome. Okay, Lily will be right back. Got it. Priorities. And that's the thing, priorities matter, you know. So prioritize things, but don't forget about yourself. They always say too with business, when you have a business, that you should pay yourself first. You have to take care of yourself so you can take care of business. Um, and that's true. Sometimes if you take that comment and relate it to our narcissist, um, if I had a business, which I have, but there's times that I've invested everything I had, hoping for a return so I could take care of me, take care of my bills, this, that. But there's times that you have to take care of yourself so you can uh, take away that stress, so you can think clearly, so you can grow your business, and everything falls into place a lot more easily. And with the narcissist, we're investing so much into them, even if it's just our thoughts. What do I do? How do I say it? Should I call them? Should I give them space? We're that's for them. That's taking away from our lives. And Calibri says the murmur and yak of narcs getting bored, not something that I want to hear when I'm present. And that's good. Yeah, sometimes some of them, mine weren't really bitchy. Mine were more dismissive, avoidant, um, irritated sometimes, bossy, like controlling. I don't know if I wouldn't really say bossy. I would say controlling, manipulative, But like my friend's narcissist, oh, when he's angry, and that's the thing, like he's okay. He's you can see through him. You can see through him. Always has to brag and, um, you know, uh, it's always about his little manhood, how big his manhood is, and they don't listen. Like, I don't want a big one. And that's all, like, he thinks that's what every woman wants, so that's what he keeps saying, and it's like, they don't take the time to listen. They just wanna take the time to brag, but in a sense, it's counterproductive. Like, if you would listen, for one thing, I don't wanna be with him, but if he was to win me over, he's pushing me away, and it's like, they're so wrapped up into their themselves that, it like with him, I told him not to talk about it, and I'm not into him, and, uh, they still think, that there's some gift to us, and there's no way that we really don't want them. But yeah, listening to him, uh, trying to have a conversation when it's not going his way is a bunch of yakety yak. You're right, Calibri. John says, I heard tinfoil hats let you talk to aliens. What do you mean you heard it? You've experienced it, I'm sure. John's good. We are all aliens. My mom's an alien from the Netherlands. But wouldn't that be crazy if we all really are aliens? I don't know. It's interesting. I've been doing some research too on the different things people were saying about, our narcissist demons. Can demons overtake people? And I always wondered if possibly could that be what schizophrenia is, but it's interesting that it doesn't happen most often. I told you about the little boy at school who told me he was afraid he was going to kill his parents. And there's a family history of schizophrenia, but it's fascinating. They talk about generational trauma where it alters the DNA a little bit. And how would I say that? Mech mantis, like mechanic. Uh, John the Mantis. Can I tell you, I accidentally I had a faux pas. Where did my French guy go? I should not have done this, and I didn't mean to, but I was teaching about the praying mantis. Did I tell you my praying mantis? Oopsie. Teaching the kids about the praying mantis, and they were having sex. Yeah, and I had to like shut down the video really quick. I was trying to show them, a little video, and yeah, don't take shortcuts. I'm like, "What? This is gonna be fine. It's National Geographic or BBC or something like that." I watch every video now after that. Kalibi says, "What caused it?" Luckily, I don't think they knew what it was. Kalibi says, "What causes the narc's eyes to turn black and their face morph during their scary rage?" Um, it's due to, adrenaline is what it's supposed to be. It's interesting too, though, like, when we're in love, our pupils dilate a little bit more, uh, like, in the schmoozy type, like, oh, the dreamy type. But, I've heard people where they say that the actual black part turns black, and I haven't seen that, but it's the intensity, the, rush of adrenaline, because they are in when they are so enraged that, like they keep saying, it's a survival, technique that they rage or they do their tactics. So when they are so infuriated, they go into the deepest survival mode that uh, that when we're scared, our eyes will dilate so we can see as much light as possible from around us. See if somebody's coming from behind or from the side. So they just have such an intense adrenaline rush, just a fear of being found out or being wrong or not being liked or not getting their way, that it's the adrenaline that causes those pupils to dilate to where you almost can't see any of the iris, the colored part of your eyes. And, um, as far as their face morphing, um, a lot of them tense up. I wouldn't doubt it if it has something to do with extra blood flow. You guys know what extra blood flow does. Raging into their face, their blood pressure's probably higher. The just, uh, tensing of the muscles that anger can do. And John's like, yeah, chemical changes. And that's the scientific reason for it. Um, Kalibi says, you heard that demons are manifesting through them during their rage. And we'll get into that. JG says Savage comes out. And of course, they will deny it, and they can't see it. They can't see it. John says, I saw my narcissist get mad a few times. Did you see the black eyes, though? There's something about the eyes raging. Um, and, it's Leah's, you're back. Oh, we're having a good discussion about the dark eyes of the narcissist. Why do they go black? Why does their face seem to morph? And, just like the animals where their hair stands up, sometimes we get goosebumps, different things like that as a response. So as far as demons, there's people I'm sure from all different that are going to watch this video from all different walks of life, all different beliefs, but uh, is it GF or girlfriend? What's GF? Is it just GF? Uh, Lily is a sellout. She is getting info for different channels. Oh, are you from or for? Lily is a sellout. She is getting info for different channels. I still love her though. Is that what she is that why she had to leave? You went I love Lily. Um, what do you say in GF? John says, yes, I did. She tensed up and balled her fists. Sellout, nah. No, we love her. Even if she is, it's cool. Say what? At least you're being noticed. Any attention? You're getting more attention than me. But I'm just teasing. Um, so did you see the black eyes though? And tensing on the fist, Um, and your daughter went into the shower. Yep, probably has school on tomorrow. Uh, Cruelty, lies, smear campaigns, arrogance are works of Satan. And there is like biblical references, you know, uh, as far as like my belief, was kind of solidified when I dabbled. I told you guys a little bit about, Ouija boards. I didn't kind of get into like the tarot cards. I'm like, this is just too random. But the people were talking about that, and uh, I believed in my God based on knowing that there's something. Like I told you about the different experiences that I had. If you guys want, I will go over it again if you ask. But I've talked about those experiences before. Um, but the different comments that people had said were really scary. And is it something? Now, they're talking about opening the portal, things like that. If there is something out there, like I told you, I've felt things, and it was one lady just doing the Ouija board, and she never met me. She wouldn't know all those secrets. She didn't know. I didn't like have the shivers, but she wrote out, "See, I can touch you, I can feel you," and I was like, "Aw," because it was like flirting with me, and I'm like, "What am I doing?" But I felt like a creepy feeling, and after I dabbled with that for the longest time, um, I felt this creepy feeling in my thighs where the hairs on my legs felt really weird, and it was a creepy feeling. Um, and I had experiences, but what is a sellout? He's saying that you're probably getting paid by some other channel to come stalk me and steal my material, something like that. Kalibi says, "How can you explain sleep paralysis? I knew I was awake one time facing the ceiling." That I had that happen too. I had a place that had 2 apartments up top. It was my storefront with a basement. The basement went, there used to be a, underground tunnel to the bakery on the other side, and it was part of the Underground Railroad, so who knows if it was haunted or not. I had experiences up there. It was kind of a scary place to be, in the basement and up top, basically the whole thing. But I slept there, and, I was that way too. I was laying on my back. I don't normally lay on my back. I'm usually kinda like the fetal position. I don't really like laying on my back, but that's how I was sleeping, and it was, the creepiest feeling. It felt like your soul was being sucked out of you. You see this dark, what do they call it? Shadow people or something. Somebody used to talk about shadow people. Um, this evil entity. It felt evil, and you couldn't move. I couldn't even form the thoughts. These are the thoughts I wanted to say was, "Jesus, come to me." I couldn't even like, I'm struggling to get those thoughts together. Um, yeah, and sleep paralysis. You know, um, I'm trying to remember. I read the scientific explanation, but it's not it doesn't match up to what I experienced. Um, I'm trying to remember. I did look it up. Uh, so, girl, GF. Of course I do. Lily says, very well. Thank you. You like me again. um, JG says to Lily, "How are you?" And she's doing really good. Lily's busy with the hot grease. Quit teasing me. It's yeah, it's still there. It's the one consistent thing in my life. Just kidding. Teasing me. Again, always. I see a thumbs up. Looks like mom's doing good. I got a thumbs up. But let's see what causes. I wish I had a bigger keyboard. But, yeah, as far as is it demonic? Some people think that it might be. As I type this, I'd like you guys to let me know what you think. Um, okay, so I did look at that up before. Okay, it's the body's transition to or from rapid eye movement. Sleep is out of sync with the brain. It's also linked to certain conditions such as increased stress, excessive alcohol. I didn't drink, excessive alcohol consumption, sleep deprivation, and narcolepsy. Narcolepsy is when you can't stay awake. You just instantly fall asleep. Um, and that can be extremely crazy. How do you get rid of it? Learning meditation, muscle relaxation, but let's look into this better. So, rapid eye movement, REM sleep is necessary um, because you'll kind of go crazy without it. That you have to have it to survive. Um, yeah, and Kalibi doesn't drink either. So, as far as this crap, no, sleep deprivation, I mean, maybe I needed an extra hour or 2, but it wasn't like sleep deprivation. Um, you could say, "Cynthia, maybe you didn't have dreams like you needed to. You didn't have that. You didn't have full sleep cycles." But, uh, it can give you a sense of suffocation, hallucination, fear, panic, helplessness, tightening around, um I don't know, probably torso or something, but, if it is demonic, then, or some entity, it would make sense why several people have it. Uh, you know, it it felt so strange that you may wonder whether anyone will believe what happened. It's hard to say, they do sleep studies, my mom did some sleep studies for sleep apnea. They do it for REM sleep as well, but good question, JG, to Sam, were you asleep when you saw this? I was not. asleep. I was awake. I swear I was like awake. So Samantha says, "Well, I know what I believe, JG. If I had the opportunity to tell you, God has made himself so real to me in my life. And I've seen demonstrated my dad was a warlock, entire generation of witches." Oh, feel free to join in, Sammy Sam. Um, what Leela says, phew. So yeah, you weren't drinking, and Lelia says GF is maybe 12, like the other guy the other night. It's because I look so young. I think I'm a sixth grader. um, Lewis, I don't know. Lewis. We're gonna do that again. Kalibi says, I feel. How often have you had it happen? I had it one, maybe two times. I remember at least one. I don't remember if it happened again, but it was terrifying. It was terrifying. It was like an evil feeling. Um, Kalibi says, I feel that sometimes these narcs and their practice of witchcraft is unsettling. And I told you too that my friend, she had a guy move into, she was my best friend, and to help with rent, she had a guy and his girlfriend move in. So she had the guy, they were platonic, but she had the guy move in and he quickly got a girlfriend and she was super into that stuff. Turns out he was too. He did the astral projection, things like that. Um, but it, it's the power that narcissists want, or sociopaths, psychopaths, and sometimes it's like if it seems to work. Also, I do talk about manifestation, but there's ways it's like changing the energy field. Um, because we do have some control over things, but the narcissists, some of them will try anything. They'll do the voodoo dolls, and it's uh your girlfriend has had sleep apnea. Yeah, both my parents had it too. My dad, what did he have? 72 times in a minute. Oh, wait, in an hour. How did it go? And it's 72 times in an hour he stopped breathing, is what I believe it was. So yeah, it was more than one time a minute he stopped breathing. So his was pretty high up there. I'm sorry to hear that, John. That was probably difficult. I'm evading your question. You might have to re-ask because I'm trying to answer. Did I miss a question? I'm not evading it. I will answer all questions at least politely. Um, I'm not seeing who's evading the question. Maybe it wasn't me. Feel free to retype it because I will answer it. And good job. You get an A plus. Excellent English. You're like me. I can't stand typos. I don't mind you guys doing it, but for when I do it, yes, you are correct. You are correct. Samantha says, JG, I've seen it completely awake and fully sober. Yeah, I was laying down for bed, but were you laying down in bed or sitting up? To Sam. JG says, Sam, you have a strong imagination. Might be a delusion. Hmm. Sam says that JG, I've heard them speak. I've heard God speak. The spiritual realm is real, very real, my friend. God has saved and rescued me from all that. And when you hear it, is it like an actual voice? And I'm not saying you have a mental illness because of that. Is it, or just a half thought voice, if that makes sense? Is it an actual voice you hear? Like Samantha. Or is it like a half and you kind of know the gist of it, if that makes sense? It's just a curiosity question. Uh, Kalibi says narcs crave power and control. How else can you explain their connection to black magic? Yeah, and you think about it too. If it doesn't work, why are people still doing it? You know, um, that's one thing. Whether we believe it or not, whether we believe it, they believe it, and why would you keep doing it if it's not working? Or seeing other people working for. We do all have delusional thoughts. Um, 'Cause somebody said I look like a Barbie. I'm just teasing. I'll take it as a compliment. You're not delusional, I'll take it. Um, she might have psychosis, and Samantha says, "Absolutely not a thought, not a delusion." And that's the thing, you know, that sensation, I felt something in that board, like, it was just too perfect timing. I didn't move. She couldn't see me, she didn't know me. Um how at just a see and the way it was worded, it's like, that's not a delusion. There was 2, uh, like, one was internal, it was me, but with validated by an outside source. So, if I didn't have that feeling and she's doing it, it's like, "Whatever. Yeah, okay, okay." But little things like that, I had that feeling first and it reacted. It'd be different if it was after where I can touch you and I'm like, "Ooh," but I had it first. I don't know, you know? And that's where it gets hard. There are people that either sometimes are delusional or make up stories or could be legit. It really could be legit. Um, Samantha says, "Nope, I was in the kitchen in someone's house that I shouldn't have been in." Um, Samantha says, "Cynthia, you're a believer. Cynthia, God speaks to our spirit, spirit to spirit." You know what I mean? It's a resonant voice in my spirit. Yes, I heard it clearly. Yeah, I kind of think I know what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about. That's why I asked. I think I've experienced some guidance voices. Some, we'll put it that way. Uh, yeah, and and that's the thing. I've tried not to get real religious, on YouTube. Uh, I thought about being a youth pastor before, but I was a little scared because, you know, they had said that like the preachers and the teachers and they get judged harder. And I definitely want to make sure that I give correct information, and everybody's so different. Everybody's so different in their beliefs. You got to be careful not to offend people. And I don't expect any of you guys to agree with me. I'm just sharing some thoughts. Uh, but yeah, I am a believer. And Samantha says, "Yeah, maybe JG. I'm not though. Even had tests, EKG tests, maybe a little ADD, but not any mental issues like you mentioned." And if you think about how many people have had certain thoughts, I know John, do you believe in aliens? Like for real? I know you bring them up a lot. Do you legitimately believe in them? Because it is interesting with that kind of stuff too. You see the crop circles and things that can't be explained, and um, you know, uh, I don't know. But as far as certain things, I think there's something out there. I don't know what it is. I was taught that our soul, like Catholics, they had the purgatory. Uh, JG, what are your delusions? That Sam has a delusion. I'm just teasing. JG, do you have any delusions? Are there things you're unsure of? He says, "I am a believer too. My creator has saved me several times from the narc and other evil people." Yeah, there's certain coincidences out there where you're like, come on, how would mm, that it's almost like too coincidental to be coincidental, that there's some divine intervention. Um, and what's interesting too is when people die, a lot of nurses will say that they and reach up to a certain corner of the room, and it's consistent. So, if I was afraid, why am I gonna, I'm not reaching this way and they're reaching that way. They're all reaching to a certain corner. People with near death experiences, I've had some. It was really interesting how calm I felt when I should have not been calm. Uh, that was also I was bleeding out, so, that was the most so crazy. The most peaceful I've been in my life. It was right after I had the miscarriage, so I'm bleeding out. My daughter was saved my life. She brought me to the hospital. So I have a 16-year-old that I love dearly, and I didn't wanna leave her. I didn't wanna leave her, so I wanted to stay for her. I was sad about losing the baby, and I was at peace. It was very odd. Um, Kalibi says, "And the nurses open a window or 2 to release the soul of that person who just died." Yeah, I've heard of that too sometimes that, you know, I don't know if they always do that. Do they always do that? They pr hmm. But, I had, one time I told you about that sleep paralysis where I felt like I was being taken out of my body. I had another time where I was in a car accident and hit my head. I passed out. Um, this is came back to my parents' house. Got in a car accident. My mom was freaking out, so she brought me home. Almost got in another car accident, so I super tensed and my back was all screwed up. So I'm having to use my hands to like lift with my jeans. I'm pulling my legs, exhausted, passed out, hit my head and slammed on the floor. And I was just sprawled out. Like I felt like I was dying. And I screamed out to God. Um, I said, God, I don't like this. And I was just, the only thought in my head is, Mom doesn't need to come home and see me this because I look like a suicide person, just I thought that I'm stuck in this bathroom too, and I screamed. And if you guys can see my stairs back there, that's about how far the bathroom was from the kitchen. My sister was in the kitchen, and she's like, "What? You didn't scream?" And you know, I screamed at the top of my lungs, and there was no clamoring or TV on, and she couldn't hear me. Samantha says, "Yes. Tell us, dear JG, that spiritual things aren't real. Any other delusions?" Samantha says, "Kaliwi, yes, absolutely. Me too, my friend." And it is good to have something like that, whether it's the universe or your God, to kind of have a comfort, um, to where you know we feel somebody's always looking over us, that we're not alone. Um, 'Cause life can be scary sometimes, and John says, "I had some close calls, but obviously something out there watched over me." There's times you're like, "How did I survive?" "How did I survive?" Um, there's some miracles out there, and it gets confusing too when some good people, have some horrible things that happen to them, and it gets confusing. If there's a God, then why do bad things happen to good people? Um, you know, uh, but I think there's something out there, something that makes us feel alive, something that makes each and every one of us so special, because in nursing school, it makes sense. Like it's so intricate. It's like mind blowing how intricate it is. But each nerve and the veins and how, two cells, and we all pretty much are pretty spot on similar. We all have one heart. There are some variations, but for the most part, we all have 10 fingers and we all have 10 toes and we all have, um, the differences between girls and boys and the hormones and the eyes and the way we can see. Like I understand um, some of it, but how amazing it is. What blows my mind too is how computers and all that work. Um, just type in a 0 or a 1, a series of that, and yeah. um, but Chloe says, I'm sorry, Samantha, Jesus never left me, even when I left him. Good point, Sam. Saved me from so much, forever dedicated dedicate my life and heart to him. So thankful. So I love Samantha's outlook. She's going through a really tough time, but her faith is getting her through. You know, there's lessons we go through, choices that we made, and sometimes I had mentioned uh, about my friend who she was upset about how she broke up with her boyfriend and or date. I think they were dating. I don't think it was like official, but they broke up. However you want to word it, stop talking. And she was all upset about it. And she's like, why is it always, why did he leave me? Why is it, I'm always the one that loses out. And I said, maybe you were to help him realize, maybe he should be with that person he just broke up with. Um, because sometimes it's not always about us, you know, um, and we tend to forget that sometimes. So just like the narcissist, sometimes they forget it's not all about them. So uh, when bad things happen, it's not always an attack on you. It has a different purpose sometimes. So but those evil eyes that you were talking about, hard to say, unfortunately, we have experiences, but not concrete evidence, um, because the mind is so fascinating. It can cause us to create images, memories. One other thing that's interesting too is what our eyes will do is if you see like a picture where it's missing you see like a brick wall and it's missing like a brick or something. A lot of times we just look at it and we gloss over it. Our mind compensates for certain things. And, um, when we read, we often take like the end and the beginning of the word. We just kind of gloss over the middle things for the most part. And there's times, have you ever seen those jokes where they're like, number one, number three, number four, haha, number two, or number seven, did you see there's no number two? Haha, made you go back and look. Yeah, Lily says it is amazing. The compensatory things that we go through. So it is kind of confusing. The different memories, like my degrees in criminal justice, you see different witnesses have different memories. Calibri says daily meditation helps a lot to keep me calm and at peace. It makes me realize that we are as minute as a grain of sand and a part of God's creation. Yes. If you think about how vast the universe is, I don't even think we're as big as a grain of sand, you know? Excellent thing. Yeah. And there's still times that, you can feel a presence, which is pretty amazing if you're just this little grain of sand, if you think about it. Uh, John says, I've had dreams where the stairs or building architecture were different or seemed impossible. And dreams are fascinating. There's like I've written songs, and this is like on the fly, and I'm not into music that much. I used to sing, but not like in a band or anything. But it was like this whole instrumental and words and just like John, like this architecture. I've been to like cities in my dream where it's like, what? Where did that thought come from? Uh, and they say too that it's impossible for you to dream. Let's say you see people in the background, uh, you can't see faces of people that you've never seen. So your mind's not going to create a new face. How do they know that? Like, you know, it could be somebody who looks just like me with a beard and maybe a freckle. But I've never seen that in real life, and I could dream that, but they say you can't. I don't know. Uh, so yeah, meditation is important. Get in touch with yourself, get in touch with your higher being, whatever that may be for you. So John, yeah, that is kind of cool. And part of it too is you're an inventor, you're a creator. So I can see you putting some amazing things. Lily says so true. So not worth the sweat to sweat the small things. I don't. And that's the way to live. a little worried about my clogged sink, but, um, yeah, to I can let it go. It's okay. I have peace. It'll be alright, instead of getting all worked up, you know? It's how we handle things, I could have been all nervous and freaking out about that, but in the big scheme of things, sometimes it's hard to let go because we have certain ways we want certain things, but Kalibi says so. That said, controlling another human being is beyond nasty in the eyes of God. So narcs better watch what they are doing and have done. Yeah. Um, yeah, we're supposed to have free will. If God's granting us that, that's his gift to us. Yeah, he's probably gonna be a little ticked that people are taking that away from us. We're meant to learn how to get along. And that's why they get their karma. And there's a percentage of people that do not dream in color. Did you know that? And also, um, if you were born blind, you're not gonna see things. And then if you're colorblind, that those are the colors. I dream in color. What percentage of people Um, so you guys, I got a group here, and for our video viewers later on, um, tell me if you dream in color. Samantha, free will is something even God doesn't step over, which is amazing. No, it's not. I need his help. um, yeah, he does give us free will, and you're right. That's a good way of putting it. Like if I'll work, or at least my God, Sam's God, whoever believes in that, whoever your God is, they give you that free will. And, that's why they say that the narcissists can never truly believe in God because they believe they're God, that they are God-like, that they're going to control it. And, all right, so what percent of people dream in black and white? That's my question. So, 12 did I say 12%? I don't know if I spewed it out, but yeah, 12% dream entirely in black and white. I did. I don't want to burn it out. I kept trying. Um, but I'm going to see, hopefully, I'm kind of hoping it drains a little, or the warm water, because I put like super hot water, that it'll dissolve and even just a little bit, so I can keep trying to do that. If not, I'll just call maintenance. It'll be all right. I've been a loyal resident. Um, yeah, I I will. I'll do that after. So you guys are helpful. We're helping each other emotionally, spiritually, and in the kitchen. And I know better too. And I'm even like, wow, that's a lot of grease. Oh well, the prices we pay for the mistakes we make, So eventually it catches up to you, because I've done that before. My dad always told me not to do it. And yeah, maybe that's so I can remember him. But it it's they also talk too, like the body is your temple. And, you know, when when we entertain toxicity, we're gonna pay the price for that too. Just like, drinking too much alcohol, or um eating too many sweets or whatever. We're either gonna get cavities or diabetes, or there's a price we pay, and um it's not always fixable, you know. Uh with surgeries, you can remove certain areas, so if poor food choices led to, I don't even know, an appendicitis or something, um or you know uh you can remove certain things, but and then you heal. You remove some tumors and things like that, and it's kind of like, our narcissist starts out as like a tumor, and then it turns into a cancer that I thought about, baking soda. I was gonna look it up. That went through my head. I do have white vinegar too. I wasn't sure if it would, like, make it worse and settle. Somebody told me this, "Oh, don't do this." I had a pool in my backyard, and I was trying to shock it to get it from going from green back to, when you first open your pool. Somebody told me baking soda. Um, I put so much baking soda to yeah, all it did was make a horrible mess and left baking soda on the bottom of my pool. It did not help, made it worse. Um, but as far as that, yeah, I was wondering if something like that would work. Also after you use a plunger to help move things down the pipe. I didn't even think of, yeah. I also have like do I have a snake? I'm not sure. I've heard that method works. Okay, I'll try that. Yeah, I could do that. Uh, yeah, okay. Thank you for that, Calibri. I will do that, and I will give you an update. We'll have household tips and uh, narcissist. You have a hand plunger. Hmm. Well, I have a toilet plunger. I do. I think I have in a box. What is in my box? I think it might be a hand plunger or just a regular sink plunger. I have like a hair clog remover. Had to do that. Oh my gosh, I was clogging up all the drains. Gotta go. Well, Sam, I'm gonna be logging off too. So enjoy the night. It's a handheld plunger. The handle is somewhat shorter than a regular one. I'll have to see what I have. I have something that drains a that's cool though, Calibri. Prepare ahead. John says, I bought a pressurized air product. Well, you guys come on over. I got meatloaf left over, so come on over and fix my drain. But it actually worked amazingly well. Did you have grease down your drain? But I do have school tomorrow, so I'm gonna go ahead and get some sleep, but feel free to get that thumbs up. I'll help with the algorithms grow this channel, and we'll get to the bottom of the narcissist, the true meaning behind their evil. Excellent chat today, guys. Thanks so much for being my loyal followers. I plan on 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So Calibri, thank you very much. Yeah, it should be interesting with all the kids coming back after like a 2-week break for Christmas. Yeah, it was a good chat. Thanks, guys. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. See you next time, guys. Bye.